Hey, what is up guys, and welcome for another Remnant 2 video. And today we're once again looking at the engineer and showing you what is right now the most optimized DPS build for it. With the DLC, we've got quite a few powerful pieces that really buffs up your turret. We can now easily deal damage in the thousands with our minigun, and with the Ritualist class to back us up, we can now deal a tremendous amount of damage while also keeping ourselves alive for a long time. With just how fast the minigun attacks, we can absolutely melt bosses in no time at all. It's truly amazing. So before we get into the video, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Diving. Do you ever feel like you're having a tough time getting through the game? Or you're finding yourself stuck with fighting bosses or can't get through some of the higher difficulty levels so you can get your hands on some of that exclusive loot? Then Diving has you covered. Diving not only covers Remnant 2 but also games like Diablo 4, Destiny 2 and so many more. Diving can help you with anything that you're having trouble with, whether it's gathering resources, completing the campaign at the highest difficulties, or leveling up your characters. Diving has anything that you may be looking for. The way the boost works is with account sharing, so they actually do everything for you without cheats or bug abuse. I've tested this service myself, so I can recommend you these guys. With the near perfect 5-star reviews and over thousands of reviews, Diving is well trusted. So if you're interested, feel free to check the link in the description and be sure to use the promo code GamerJZ to get 15% off your next purchase. Also, if you're unsure and need help with anything, you can always contact the operator as they can help you with anything that you're having troubles with. With that, I would like to thank once again for Diving for sponsoring this video. With that, let's get right into the build. So of course for the classes we are using the Engineer and the Ritualist. The Ritualist gives us an overall big damage boost to everything when we are fighting enemies that are inflicted with a status effect, and an overall 10% crit chance to everything, which includes our skills as well. On top of that, with the Death Wish skill, we get a further 35% damage boost and 10% lifesteal as well. This is how we can tank through most of the bosses with the big boost in our lifesteal. If you use the Confident Booster Needles that reduces your stagger level, you can just stand there and gun down whatever that's attacking you while also healing incredibly fast with your lifesteal. And now moving on to our gear, firstly let's go over our amulets and rings. We are running the new Index of the Scribe amulet. This will increase our mod and skill weak point damage by a whopping 35%. This works really well with the minigun as we can hit weak points very consistently. If you are going into a fight where it's not easy to hit weak points, or if there are no weak points at all, then you can always switch up the amulet to the silver ribbon, which will overall boost your skill damage by 25%. Looking at our rings, we get the new Atari booster. You can find this ring as a random drop in Rude. This will give our minigun 10% damage boost and a 10% crit chance while we have it in our hand. The higher crit chance, the better will be for this build. Then we have Probability Cord to overall increase our crit damage. Then we have the Ahane Crystal. This will have us deal additional damage based on how many status effects the enemy is suffering from. This ring seems to give us a multiplicative boost compared to something like Burden of the Destroyer, which just boosts our damage by 15%. Since having any status effect inflicted will give us the boost in damage and crit chance from our Ritualist, having this ring on will make it even stronger. If you're finding it hard to have the enemies be inflicted with a status effect all the time, then I do suggest running the Burden of the Destroyer instead. But if you are playing co-op and you have others constantly inflicting status effects, you should just stick with the crystal ring. Then for our final ring slot, you can go for either the Xenius Malice or the Akari Warband. For the highest damage numbers possible, the Xenius Malice is going to be the best option. But for just overall highest DPS, the Warband is suited better. Also, since I had so many bosses spawn with the thick skin effects, like literally while testing this build, so many bosses came with the thick skin effects, which reduces all of our crit chance and crit damage. The Warband is going to be a best option for this build. For the relic, we use the Shielded Heart, with the fragment skill damage, skill cooldown and weak spot damage. As for our weapons, we go with the Sparkfire shotgun. This, with the Twisted Wounds Mutator, will give us fire and bleed status effects. Then for our melee weapon, we use the Quill Axe. This is what will give us a shock and corrosion status effects with our charge attack. So altogether we can easily get those 4 status effects on the enemy to make full use of the crystal ring. And that's all for the gear, and now a quick look at the traits. We get Flash Caster to increase the speed of using our skills. We get kinship just so we don't take a lot of damage from the Death Wish skill. Potency to increase the duration of our needles, only if you're planning to use them in fights. We get strong badge just so we can roll easily while we aren't holding the turret. Vigor, spirit and expertise is basically given at this point in all of the builds. Then we have bark skin for more damage reduction, and then finally siphoner for more life steal. And that is it for the build, everyone. The engineer and his minigun is still an easy and a super strong way to kill bosses. Whether you can target their weak spots easily or not, the DPS is just very high and you can gun down even the toughest of bosses without any hassle at all. The turret for some reason does very bad damage while you place it on the ground. It does next to no damage at all, so don't even bother placing it down. This build in co-op does really well if you have friends constantly inflicting status effects or keeping your life with a medic. He can provide the well needed damage for the team. When playing with the build, always start fighting with shooting them once to inflict bleed and fire, and then throwing the cruel axe to inflict shock and corrode. After which you can go and proc your Death Wish and your minigun. This is mostly the combo loop you will go for. Once your primed turret is gone, you can just keep attacking and wait for your prime ability to recharge as well as your Death Wish. They should end up finishing at the same time, so you can go ahead and do the same combo again. If you do run out of ammo on your turret, you can always pop a relic to get that back instantly. I hope you all enjoyed the build and still loving to play with the engineer. It's still one of my favorite classes in the game, and with the new rings and amulets, it made the class stronger than it's ever been. What are your thoughts on the build and the engineer itself? Let me know. I will catch you all next time.